My daughter-in-law had me thrown out like garbage on Thanksgiving. 24 hours later, the FBI was dragging her away in handcuffs, and she still had no idea what I'd done. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. My name is Vincent Hayes. Friends call me Vince. I'm 65 years old. Retired postal worker, Army veteran, widower, and apparently, according to my daughter-in-law, completely disposable. Let me take you back to Wednesday afternoon, 2 days before Thanksgiving. I pulled up to my son's house in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Not a house, really, a mansion. One of those colonial-style palaces with the white columns and the circular driveway. The kind of place that screams, "We've made it!" My truck looked out of place. Rusted Ford F-150, 20 years old, held together by duct tape and stubbornness. But it ran, and it got me there. I had Claire's pecan pie recipe in a container on the passenger seat. My late wife's famous recipe, the one I'd spent 7 years learning to perfect after she died. The one Ethan used to beg for every Thanksgiving when he was 7 years old. Ethan met me at the door, my son, 32 years old now, wearing a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than my monthly disability check. "Dad, you made it!" He hugged me. Quick, efficient. The kind of hug you give someone at a networking event. Behind him, Kristen appeared. Designer everything. Hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. She smiled, but it never reached her eyes. "Vincent, you're here." Not welcome, not so glad you came. Just acknowledgement, like I was a package she'd been expecting. "Brought the pie?" I hold up the container. "And the cranberry sauce, homemade just like we already have dessert catered." Her voice was pleasant, poisonous. "And I'm serving a deconstructed cranberry chutney with orange zest and rosemary. Very contemporary." Contemporary. Right. She took the container from my hands anyway, set it on the marble countertop like it was contaminated. Now I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I say something? Why didn't I stand up for myself? Because I'm dying. And I was trying to keep the peace long enough to tell my son face to face. That evening was ice wrapped in small talk. I offered to help set up chairs. Kristen told me to just relax, in a tone that meant stay out of my way. I tried asking about Ethan's work. He mumbled something about quarterly projections and disappeared into his home office for important calls. I ate dinner alone in their guest room. Turkey sandwich, from their sub-zero fridge that cost more than my first car. Around 10 o'clock, I heard them fighting downstairs. Their heating vents must have connected to the guest room because every word carried up clear as day. Kristen's voice. "I told you I don't want him here tomorrow. My parents are coming, my sister, the Hendersons from your firm. I need everything perfect. Your father will drag down the whole aesthetic." Aesthetic. She called me an aesthetic problem. Ethan's response was quieter. I caught fragments. "He's my dad. Drove all this way. Can't just—" "Then you tell him!" Kristen snapped. Silence. I lay there in that guest bed, Egyptian cotton, sheets, probably thread count higher than my credit score, and I touched the chain around my neck, Claire's wedding ring, the one I'd worn since her funeral 7 years ago, the one I'd touched whenever I needed strength. I didn't sleep. Came downstairs at 8 sharp. Kristen was in the dining room, arranging white roses in crystal vases. The table could seat 16 people easily. She'd set it for 12. "Good morning," I said quietly. She turned, and the look on her face, pure irritation, like I was a fly buzzing near her perfect centerpiece. "Vincent, I need to talk to you." My stomach dropped. I already knew, but I let her say it anyway. "Today is really important to me. I've been planning this for months. My entire family is coming, some very important people from Ethan's firm, potential partners. This needs to be sophisticated." "Of course," I said. "I'm happy to help, however—" "That's just it." She crossed her arms. "I don't need help. And honestly, Vincent, there's no space for you here." The words landed like a punch. "I don't understand. Ethan invited me. I'm his father." "Ethan invited you before I finalized the guest list. We're at capacity. The seating chart is done. Catering's portioned exactly. And frankly—" She paused, looked me up and down like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. "His colleagues don't need to meet his elderly father who still wears flannel shirts and talks about the postal service. It's not the impression we're trying to make." My face burned. 65 years old, and I felt like a kid being told he wasn't good enough for the cool table. "Where's Ethan?" "He agrees with me. He just didn't want to hurt your feelings." She glanced at her diamond watch. "My parents arrive in 2 hours. I really need you to leave." I don't remember walking upstairs, don't remember packing my overnight bag. My body moved on autopilot while my brain tried to process what was happening. My son never came out of his office, couldn't even face me. I left Claire's pecan pie on the kitchen counter. The pie I'd been making for Ethan since he was 7 years old. The pie he'd called the best thing in the world every Thanksgiving. Just left it there. As I loaded my truck, Kristen stood in the doorway, arms crossed, making sure I actually left, like I was a security threat. I drove for an hour. Didn't know where I was going, just drove. Ended up at a Motel 6 off Interstate 95 Exit 7. $49 a night, stained carpet, bed that smelled like cigarettes and broken promises. I walked to the gas station next door, bought a plastic container of pre-made turkey, instant mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce from a can. Thanksgiving dinner. Alone. I sat on that motel bed and cried. First time since Claire's funeral. Big, ugly sobs that hurt my chest. My whole body shook. But here's what Kristen didn't know. What neither of them knew. 3 months ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. 6 to 12 months to live. Maybe less. That Thanksgiving, I was going to tell Ethan, ask him to come with me to my first chemo appointment, spend whatever time I had left actually being father and son again. And there was something else. Something I discovered 2 weeks before Thanksgiving that changed everything. I sat on that motel bed, phone in hand, staring at a text I'd written 2 weeks ago. The one I'd planned to send Ethan that night. The one that would have changed everything. It was 11:47 p.m. In 13 minutes, the deadline would pass. The deadline I'd set. Not for forgiveness, but for revenge. One button. That's all it took. My finger hovered over send. And then, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. The voice on the other end said 5 words that made my blood run cold. "Mr. Hayes, she knows you know." Most people never see betrayal coming until it's too late. Subscribe so you don't miss what happened next, because this gets darker. 3 months earlier, a doctor handed me a death sentence. I had 12 months, maybe less. But what I discovered 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, that was worse than dying. Mid-August. Tuesday afternoon, Dr. Patel's office in Wilmington. The room smelled like antiseptic and fear. You know that smell? It's in every oncologist's office. Sterile, clinical. The smell of bad news dressed up in medical terminology. Dr. Patel didn't waste time with small talk. Mr. Hayes, the biopsy results confirm stage 4 lung cancer, non-small cell. It's aggressive. We're looking at 6 to 12 months without treatment. With aggressive intervention, we might extend that to 18 months, maybe 2 years, but the quality of life, he trailed off. Doctors do that when the answer isn't good. How soon do we start? I asked. Immediately. I want you in chemo by next week. We need to hit this hard and fast. I looked at the calendar on his wall. August 15th. Thanksgiving was 3 months away. Can we wait until after the holidays? Dr. Patel frowned. Mr. Hayes, every week we delay? I know, but I need one last Thanksgiving with my son. One last normal holiday before this becomes our whole life. Just give me until December 1st. Then we'll do whatever you want. He didn't like it, but he agreed. I signed the deferral forms. My hands were steady, didn't shake once. But driving home, I had to pull over in a Wawa parking lot on Route 13. Sat there for an hour, engine running. Couldn't remember how I got there. All I could think was, I need to tell Ethan in person. Not over the phone, not in a cold doctor's office. Over pecan pie and coffee, the way Claire would have wanted. I spent September and October planning how to tell him, what to say, practicing conversations at my kitchen table with an empty chair across from me, the chair where Ethan used to do homework, where Claire used to sit with her coffee every morning. Son, I need to tell you something. I'm sick. Real sick. I couldn't get through it without crying. But then 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, everything changed. Tuesday afternoon, November 12th, Ethan called. Dad, can you help me with something? My laptop's acting weird. Keeps freezing. I think it's a virus. I can take a look. Want me to drive over? Kristen's at a spa day. Could you come around too? I grabbed my toolkit, made the 40-minute drive to Cherry Hill. Ethan was stressed. Some big presentation at work. He handed me the laptop and disappeared into his home office for conference calls. I ran diagnostics in their kitchen. Sleek white marble everywhere. The kind of kitchen where you're afraid to touch anything. The virus scan finished. False alarm. Just needed system updates. But when I went to close out, the downloads folder auto-opened. And that's when I saw them. Financial PDFs. Dozens of them. My first instinct was to close it. None of my business. But one file name caught my eye. Ethan Hayes Credit Summary Confidential .pdf. Why would Ethan have a confidential summary of his own credit? I clicked it. My stomach dropped. Credit cards in Ethan's name I knew he didn't have. 5 of them. Total balance $180,000. Cash advances, balance transfers, all within the last 18 months. I clicked another file. Offshore account transfers, bank in the Cayman Islands, account name Kristen Holloway, her maiden name. Another file. Email thread, subject line, timeline adjustment. Between Kristen and Tyler Chen. The preview text made my blood run cold. Once the father's gone, E inherits everything. We wait 60 days post-funeral to avoid suspicion, then file. Split should be clean. You get 30%, I keep 70%. He won't fight it. He'll be too destroyed to think straight. I sat there staring at the screen. My hands started shaking now. The hands that had been steady, signing my own death warrant. She wasn't just a bad wife. She was a predator. And she was waiting for me to die. Training kicked in. Army. 30 years of solving problems under pressure. Document everything.
Don't react. Build the case. I pulled out my phone, started photographing. Every document, every email, every transaction. My hands were shaking so bad the first photos came out blurry. I steadied myself against the counter, breathed, focused. Found more files. Life insurance policy. My policy. $400,000. Ethan listed as beneficiary. Appraisal of my Wilmington house. $350,000. A spreadsheet titled Asset Timeline. My name at the top. Estimated death date, March 2025. Distribution schedule mapped out by month. She'd created a business plan, and I was the product. I dug deeper into the email threads. Tyler Chen, college boyfriend, University of Pennsylvania, class of 2016. They'd been meeting. Philadelphia hotels, Ritz-Carlton. 6 visits in 4 months. One text message screenshot from Kristen to Tyler. Doctor says he's got a year max. After that, we're free. Just need to keep E isolated from him. Can't risk the old man poisoning the well. Another text. E's so desperate for Daddy's approval that he doesn't see what's right in front of him. It's almost sad. Almost. I heard Ethan's office door open. Footsteps. I closed everything. Cleared the browser history. My heart was hammering. "How's it looking, Dad?" I turned. My son. My boy. Standing there with coffee in hand, completely oblivious that his wife was plotting his financial destruction. "Just needed updates. You're all set." "Thanks. You're a lifesaver." Lifesaver. Right. "Ethan, how's everything with you and Kristen?" "Good. Great, actually. She's been talking about hosting Thanksgiving this year. First time in our new place. She wants you to come early, help set up." He smiled, genuine, happy. And I realized I couldn't tell him not yet. Not without proof he couldn't deny. "That sounds great, son." I left with the evidence on my phone. Drove straight to Hank Morrison's office. Hank, Vietnam buddy, best lawyer in Delaware. The guy who'd helped me with Claire's estate after she died. I showed him everything. He went pale. "Vince, this is fraud. Identity theft, possibly conspiracy. If she's done this before, and that email suggests she has, this could be federal." What do? We build a case, quietly, and you tell Ethan before she has a chance to spin it. I'm telling him on Thanksgiving. I'll bring printed copies, show him everything. My cancer, her scheme, all of it. Hank nodded. "And if he doesn't believe you, then I lose my son twice. Once to her, once to cancer." I spent the next 2 weeks preparing. Created encrypted backups, cloud storage, physical copies in 3 locations, Hank's office, my safe deposit box, and one hidden in my truck. I bought a new overnight bag, packed the evidence folder at the bottom, printed every document, every email, every transaction. The plan was simple. Arrive Wednesday, get through Thanksgiving dinner Thursday. Friday morning, after everyone left, sit Ethan down, just father and son, show him everything. Save him before I ran out of time. But I made one critical error. I hid the evidence folder under the guest room mattress Wednesday night, figured it was safer than keeping it in my truck in their driveway. When Kristen threw me out Thursday morning, I was so devastated, so humiliated, I forgot it. Left it there. A folder full of proof that her wife was a con artist hidden under the bed in their guest room. Which brings us back to Thursday night, Thanksgiving. That motel room. Me, sitting on a stained bedspread, holding my phone, staring at my half-eaten gas station turkey. 11:47 p.m. And that unknown number calling. I answered. Mr. Hayes? Young voice, male, nervous. Who is this? My name is Tyler Chen. I know you don't know me, but I know what Kristen's planning, and I can't let it happen. My grip tightened on the phone. You're the one helping her.
I was. Past tense. Mr. Hayes, we need to talk. Tonight. Because tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., police are coming to your house in Wilmington. Kristen's called in a wellness check. She's claiming you're suicidal and mentally unstable. She is going to have you committed. Everything clicked into place. The Thanksgiving ejection. It wasn't just cruelty, it was strategy. She was building a narrative. Vincent Hayes is erratic, unstable, unwelcome at family gatherings. Tomorrow, when police showed up for the wellness check, it would fit the pattern. Elderly man, terminal illness, estranged from family, clear suicide risk. 72-hour psychiatric hold, then emergency guardianship hearing, and suddenly Kristen controls everything. My money, my medical decisions, my life. Mr. Hayes, are you still there? Tyler's voice pulled me back. Why are you telling me this? Because my dad died of lung cancer last March. I watched him waste away for 11 months. And when Kristen told me you had the same thing, that she was actively counting on it, that she'd celebrate when you finally died, I couldn't. I just can't. There's something else, Tyler said. His voice dropped. That evidence folder you left in the guest room? Kristen found it 2 hours ago. She's burning it right now in their fireplace. Every page. Every photo. Everything. My heart stopped. But here's the thing, Mr. Hayes. I'm parked across the street from your son's house right now, and I took pictures of every single document before she could destroy them. She has no idea. And in 6 hours, we're going to burn her world down instead. This is where it gets dangerous. Subscribe now. You'll want to see how a dying man and a guilty accomplice teamed up to destroy a predator. Tyler Chen called me at midnight on Thanksgiving, and what he told me turned my grief into a weapon sharper than any knife Kristen had ever twisted in my back. Mr. Hayes, I know this is a lot, but we don't have time. The wellness check happens at 8 a.m. That's 7 hours from now. If we're going to stop her, we need to move tonight. I was still processing. Tyler Chen, the man helping my daughter-in-law plot my son's financial destruction. Now he was offering to help me? Why should I trust you? Silence on the other end. Then, you shouldn't. I don't deserve your trust. But my father, his name was Richard Chen, postal worker, just like you. Newark Station, died last March. Lung cancer, stage 4. My throat tightened. The last 6 months of his life, he kept apologizing for being a burden, for costing too much, for still being alive when he was supposed to be gone. And I kept telling him he wasn't a burden, that I loved him, that I'd give anything for more time. Tyler's voice cracked. When Kristen told me about you, about your cancer, about how she was counting down the days like you were a stock option about to mature, I heard my dad's voice, and I couldn't do it anymore. I looked at the motel room ceiling, water stain in the corner, shaped like a bird, or maybe a plane. Claire used to do that, find shapes and stains in clouds, in wallpaper patterns. What's the play? I could hear Tyler exhale, relief. First, don't go home to Wilmington. That's where they're expecting you. Stay at the motel tonight. Second, I need you to make 3 phone calls. And third, Mr. Hayes, this is important. We need to talk about what Kristen's planning that you don't know about yet. There's more? So much more. Tyler had been recording Kristen for 3 months. Every conversation, every plan, every casual mention of my death like it was a vacation they were planning. He played me a clip, Kristen's voice crystal clear. Tyler, once the old man's gone, Ethan inherits about $750 total. The life insurance, the house, probably some retirement accounts. We drain the credit cards now. I've already got $180 in cash offshore. After the funeral, I'll play devastated widow. Ethan will be a mess. That's when we file for divorce. I'll claim emotional abuse, cite the debt as evidence he was financially controlling. I'll walk with half of everything, including half of the inheritance. $375,000 plus the $180 I already moved. $555 total. Minus your 30%. You clear $166. Not bad for a year's work. I listened to my daughter-in-law commoditize my death. My hands were shaking again. Not from fear, from rage. There's more, Tyler said quietly. She's done this twice before. Tyler sent me files while we talked, PDFs loading on my phone screen in that dim motel room. Nathan Brennan, husband number 2. Married 2018, died 2019. Mysterious fall down the stairs. Life insurance payout, $300,000. Kristen collected. Moved to Philadelphia 6 months later. Richard Holloway, kept her maiden name for that one. Husband number 1, married 2016, divorced 2017, claimed financial abuse, walked away with $90,000 settlement. And now, Ethan, husband number 3. The FBI's been watching her for 8 months. Financial Crimes Unit, Philadelphia Field Office. They've connected her to a pattern, but couldn't get enough evidence for an indictment, until now. You went to the FBI? 2 months ago. They offered me immunity if I cooperated. I've been wearing wire, Mr. Hayes. Every meeting with Kristen since September. Every conversation, I've got her on tape discussing fraud, conspiracy, even joking about Nathan Brennan's convenient accident. Here's what happens tomorrow if we do nothing. 8 a.m. Police do the wellness check. You're not home, which makes you look unstable. Reinforces Kristen's story. By noon, there's a BELO out for you. By evening, when they find you, you're placed on a psychiatric hold. Monday morning, emergency hearing. Kristen's got a lawyer ready. She becomes your guardian, controls everything. And if we fight back, then we don't just stop her, we destroy her. Tyler walked me through it. 3 phone calls, 3 pieces of the puzzle. Call 1, your lawyer. Get him to prepare an emergency injunction blocking any guardianship petition. Have him ready to file at 8 a.m. if needed. I called Hank Morrison, midnight on Thanksgiving. He answered on the second ring. Vince, what's wrong? I told him everything. The wellness check, Kristen's plan, Tyler's evidence. Hank was quiet for a long moment. Then, how far are you willing to go? How far can the law take her? With the right evidence, federal prison, 10 to 20 years. Then let's go that far. Call 2, Tyler said. FBI, Agent Carmen Vasquez, Financial Crimes Unit, Philadelphia Field Office. I'll text her direct number. She's expecting your call. At midnight? She's been waiting for this call for 8 months. Agent Vasquez answered on the first ring. No sleep in her voice. Wide awake. Mr. Hayes, Tyler briefed me. I need to know, are you willing to testify against Kristen Hayes? Yes. Are you willing to wear a wire when you confront her? I paused, thought about Ethan, about the look on his face when his world fell apart. No, my son doesn't need to remember his father as someone who recorded his own family. I'll testify. I'll provide evidence, but the wire stays off. Vasquez respected that. Understood. Here's what happens tomorrow. 8 a.m., my team arrives at the Cherry Hill residence simultaneously with local police. We're not there for a wellness check. We're there to execute a warrant for Kristen's arrest. On what charges? wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit financial elder abuse. And we're opening an investigation into Nathan Brennan's death. If we can prove it wasn't an accident, we add murder. Last call, Tyler said. This one's personal. Greg Paulson, your son's boss. How do you know Greg? Kristen told me about him. Army buddy of yours, CEO of Ethan's firm. She mentioned him because she's been embezzling through Ethan's client accounts. $40,000 over 18 months. Small amounts. Hard to trace. But if the firm audits, Ethan's the one who goes down. My blood ran cold. She's framing him? Insurance policy. If Ethan ever tries to fight the divorce, she threatens to expose the embezzlement. He backs down to avoid prison. I dialed Greg's number. We'd served together in Desert Storm, saved each other's lives more than once. Hadn't spoken in 6 months. Vince, it's midnight. What's going on? Greg, I need to tell you something about my son's wife, and you're not going to like it. I laid it out. Everything. The embezzlement, the accounts, Ethan's exposure. Greg was silent. Then, we noticed irregularities 3 weeks ago. Started a quiet internal investigation. We've been trying to figure out if Ethan was involved or if someone was using his credentials. It's Kristen. She has his passwords, access to his home office. Can you prove it? By tomorrow morning, the FBI will have everything. Then we'll coordinate. We'll have our legal team ready. We'll make sure Ethan is protected. And Vince? Yeah? I'm sorry about all of this. You deserved better. 3 calls done. The trap set. But Tyler had one more thing. Mr. Hayes, there's something you need to know. About tomorrow. The timing. What about it? Kristen is planning to trigger the wellness check at 8 a.m., but she's also scheduled something else, 9 a.m., at your house in Wilmington. What? She's hired a company to clear out your house, told them you're going into assisted living, gave them a list of everything valuable, your wife's jewelry, your military medals, photo albums, everything. She's liquidating your life. The rage crystallized into something cold, focused. Where is she now? At home. Ethan is asleep. She's in the living room. I can see her through the window. She's drinking wine, celebrating. She thinks she's won.
I sat on that motel bed, Claire's ring in my left hand, phone in my right. I could walk away, disappear, let the FBI handle it, stay safe. Or I could show up tomorrow morning, face her, watch her fall. Tyler, that evidence folder she burned, you said you photographed everything? Every pitch, already sent to Agent Vasquez. We've got her either way. Good, because I'm going back there tomorrow, 7:45, before the FBI arrives. I want to see her face when she realizes I'm not broken. I want her to know I beat her. Mr. Hayes, that's risky, if she's dangerous. She's a coward. Cowards don't fight when they're cornered. They run, and I'm going to watch her try. My phone buzzed. Incoming call. Dr. Patel. At 12:47 a.m. on Thanksgiving night. Doctors don't call at that hour unless something's wrong. I answered. Doc? Mr. Hayes, I'm sorry to call so late, but there's been a development with your scans. The ones from last week? I need you to come in first thing tomorrow morning. Actually, no, today, Friday, as soon as possible. My stomach dropped. Good development or bad? Long pause. Just come in. Bring someone with you. This is a conversation we need to have in person. He hung up. I stared at the phone. Tyler was still on the other line. Mr. Hayes? You still there? Yeah. Change of plans. Tomorrow morning, we take down Kristen. Then I find out if I'm dying faster than expected. Either way, Friday's going to be one hell of a day. What do you need from me? Be at the house, 7:30. Park down the street. If anything goes wrong, you're my witness. And Tyler? Yes, sir? Thank you. for choosing the right side. Your father would be proud." His voice broke. "I hope so." I hung up. Set my alarm for 5 a.m. 4 hours of sleep, maybe. I lay back on that motel bed and touched Claire's ring. Tomorrow, baby. Tomorrow, I save our son, and then I find out how much time we've got left. Outside, traffic hummed on I-95. 18-wheelers hauling Black Friday cargo, families driving home from Thanksgiving dinners they'd actually been welcome at. And somewhere in Cherry Hill, in a $1 million house, my daughter-in-law was sleeping next to my son, dreaming of my funeral. She had no idea that the man she'd thrown away was about to walk back through her door, not as a victim, as a reckoning. Kristen thought she'd won. She had no idea what was coming at 8 a.m. Subscribe now, because what happens next is the kind of justice that leaves scars.
Kristen looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. Funny, because I was supposed to be the one dying. But standing in her kitchen at 7:45 a.m., I'd never felt more alive. I didn't sleep, not really. Dozed maybe 90 minutes total. Alarm went off at 5 a.m., but I was already awake, staring at the motel ceiling, planning every word. Showered, shaved, put on my best flannel shirt, the one Kristen hated, the one she'd mocked yesterday morning when she threw me out. Drove back to Cherry Hill in the pre-dawn darkness. Streets empty except for early Black Friday shoppers camping outside Best Buy. Pulled into their circular driveway at 7:43 a.m. Kristen's white Mercedes was there, Ethan's Audi beside it, lights on upstairs, master bedroom. Tyler's car was parked 3 houses down. He flashed his headlights once. Signal. I'm here. I used my spare key, the one Ethan gave me 2 years ago, the one Kristen didn't know I still had. Front door opened silently. Alarm was off. They hadn't set it last night. Sloppy. I heard her voice before I saw her. Kitchen, on the phone. Yes, officer, I'm very worried about him. My father-in-law. He's been erratic lately. Violent, even. Yesterday, he showed up uninvited and became aggressive when I asked him to leave. I'm concerned he might hurt himself. Or worse, hurt someone else. She was rehearsing, perfecting her victim performance for the wellness check. I walked into the kitchen. She was facing the window. Designer yoga outfit. Hair perfect, even at this hour. Wine glass on the counter, left over from last night's celebration. The address is 2247 Oakmont Drive, Wilmington. Yes, I'll hold while you dispatch. You can hang up now, Kristen. She spun around. Phone clattered to the marble floor. Screen cracked. Her face went white. Actually white, like someone had drained the blood out. Vince? What are you? You shouldn't be here. How did you? Get in. Spare key. You really should have asked for it back when you threw me out yesterday. Her eyes darted to the doorway, calculating, looking for Ethan. He's still upstairs, I said calmly, but he won't be for long. Because we're about to have a family meeting. Footsteps on the stairs. Ethan appeared in flannel pajamas, coffee mug in hand, hair sticking up, confused. Dad, I thought you left. Kristen said you... He stopped, looked between us. What's going on? Your father broke in. Kristen recovered fast, shifted into victim mode. I was just on the phone with the police. He's been acting unstable. Honey, I didn't want to tell you, but his doctor called me. The cancer's spread to his brain. He's having delusions. Stop. My voice cut through. Ethan, I never told her about the cancer. Silence. Ethan's face shifted. What? I never told Kristen I was sick. Never mentioned it once. So how does she know? Kristen's mouth opened, closed. Opened again. You told me last month, when you visited, you said... I wasn't here last month. Try again. I pulled out my phone. Opened the photo gallery, the one I'd spent 2 weeks building. "Ethan, come here. I need to show you something." He walked over slowly, set his coffee mug down. His hands were shaking. I started swiping. Bank statements, credit cards, offshore accounts, emails. His face changed with every photo. Confusion to recognition to horror. "Dad, what is this?" "Your wife's business plan. You're the product. I'm the expiration date." Kristen lunged for my phone. I pulled back. She stumbled. "Those are fake! He fabricated them! This is what I was afraid of. The cancer's making him paranoid. He's delusional." "Then explain the offshore account, the one in your maiden name, Kristen Holloway, the one with $180,000. Money from credit cards opened in Ethan's name." Ethan was staring at her now, really seeing her maybe for the first time. "Kristen?" "He's lying. He's sick. He's trying to turn you against me because I asked him to leave yesterday." 8 a.m. Right on schedule. Doorbell rang. Not once, 3 times. Firm, authoritative. Kristen's face flickered. Confidence returning. "That's the police, for the wellness check. Now you'll see. They'll take him away and—" I walked to the front door. Opened it. 3 people in navy windbreakers, FBI across the back in yellow letters. Agent Carmen Vasquez, 50-something. Sharp eyes. She'd seen 1,000 Kristens before. "Mr. Hayes, thank you for your cooperation." She looked past me. "Mrs. Hayes, we have a warrant for your arrest." The next 30 seconds happened in slow motion. Kristen's face crumbled. The mask slipped completely. "What? No, there's been a mistake. I called about him. He's the one—" "Kristen Holloway Hayes, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit financial elder abuse, and embezzlement. You have the right to remain silent." "This is insane! Ethan, tell them! Your father's lying! He's sick! He fabricated everything!" Agent Vasquez held up a tablet, played audio. Kristen's voice crystal clear. "Once the old man's gone, Ethan inherits about $750 total. We drain the credit cards now. After the funeral, I play devastated widow. That's when we file for divorce." Ethan's knees buckled. He caught himself on the kitchen island. That's not... Kristen was stammering now. "That was taken out of context. That was a joke. Tyler and I were just..." "Tyler Chen has been cooperating with our investigation for 3 months. He's provided recordings, documents, and testimony. We also have evidence linking you to similar schemes in 2 previous marriages, including the suspicious death of Nathan Brennan in 2019. Kristen was cuffed, hands behind her back, designer yoga outfit suddenly looking less polished. She turned to Ethan, tears streaming now, real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. "Baby, please, you have to believe me. Your father's been planning this. He's manipulating everyone. He's dying and he wants to hurt me because I asked him to leave. This is revenge. This is..." "You knew about the cancer." Ethan's voice was dead, flat. "You knew he was dying. And you counted on it." "No, I didn't. You called it a timeline. You had a calendar. You were waiting for my father to die." Kristen's face twisted, anger breaking through the tears. "You're weak," she hissed. "Just like him. Pathetic. I wasted 4 years on you. 4 years playing devoted wife to a spineless mama's boy who..." Agent Vasquez pulled her toward the door. "That's enough." Another car pulled up. Black sedan. Greg Paulson stepped out. Ethan's boss, my old army buddy. With him, the company's CFO and head of legal. Ethan saw them. His face went gray. "Oh God, the firm. Did she..." Greg walked in, looked at Kristen in handcuffs, nodded to Agent Vasquez, then turned to Ethan. "Son, we need to talk about your account access." In the living room, Ethan sitting on the couch where he'd probably watched 1,000 football games with Kristen. Normal life. All fake. Greg laid it out.
$40,000 embezzled across 8 client portfolios, all traced to Ethan's login credentials. Ethan looked like he was going to be sick. I would never... We know. Our investigation shows that withdrawals happened when you were in documented meetings. Someone else used your passwords. And we have security footage of Kristen in your home office late nights when you were traveling. She had my passwords. I gave them to her. For emergencies. She said she needed to access files if I was ever unreachable.
The CFO spoke up. The firm's prepared to support you, Ethan. You're a victim here, but we'll need your full cooperation with the FBI investigation. Ethan nodded. Couldn't speak. Kristen was being let out, but she stopped at the door, turned back to me. You did this. You ruined everything. You pathetic old man. You're dying anyway. I just had to wait, but you couldn't let it happen. You had to destroy me. I walked over, stood close enough to see the mascara running down her cheeks. No, Kristen. You destroyed yourself. I just made sure everyone saw it. You'll be dead in 6 months, and I'll still be here. I'll appeal. I'll fight this. And when I get out, you'll be gone, and You'll be in prison, I said quietly, for 10 to 20 years, maybe more, if they prove you killed Nathan Brennan. By the time you get out, you'll be older than I am now. And Ethan? He'll have built a whole new life without you. Her face contorted. Pure rage. She tried to lunge at me. Agents held her back. I hope the cancer hurts, she screamed as they dragged her out. I hope you suffer. I hope... The door closed. Sirens faded down the street. Silence in the house. Greg and his team had left. FBI was gone. Just Ethan and me. He was still sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. I sat beside him, put my hand on his shoulder. Dad, his voice cracked. I'm so sorry. Thanksgiving, I should have stood up for you. I should have... You chose love. You didn't know it was fake. But you knew. You found out and you still... You were going to tell me. Over pie. The way Mom would have wanted. Yeah. He broke then. Full sobs. The kind that come from somewhere deep. Primal. I pulled him close. My son. My boy. Crying like he was 7 years old again. I chose her. Over you. You're dying, and I chose her. We have time now. That's what matters. My phone rang. Dr. Patel. Ethan pulled back, wiped his face. That's your doctor? Yeah. I'm coming with you. Ethan, I'm coming. Whatever he says, whatever happens, I'm not leaving you alone again. I answered the phone. Mr. Hayes, where are you? You were supposed to be here at 8. Something came up. We're on our way now. We? My son's coming. Pause. Then softer. Good. That's good. Come straight to my office. We need to talk about your scans. He hung up. Ethan drove. I was too exhausted. Emotionally, physically. We didn't talk. What was there to say? His entire marriage was a lie. His wife was a criminal. His father was dying. But we were together. Finally. Actually together. We pulled into the medical complex at 9:47 a.m. Dr. Patel was waiting in his office. 2 folders on his desk. One labeled, Vincent Hayes, Original File. The other labeled, Patient number 4782, Corrected. He looked at us, and I knew from his face, this was not going to be good news. Mr. Hayes? Ethan? Please sit down. We sat. There was an error in our imaging system. A significant error. My hands gripped the armrests. Dr. Patel opened the second folder. The scans showing cancer regression last month, the ones that suggested the experimental treatment was working, those weren't your father's scans. They were mislabeled, mixed with another patient. Your actual scans show continued aggressive progression. The original diagnosis stands. 6 months, possibly less. And because we delayed treatment based on faulty data, he didn't finish. Didn't have to. I'd spent the last 12 hours destroying my enemy, saving my son, winning. But, sitting in that doctor's office holding Ethan's hand, I realized something. Revenge has a price, and mine was time. Time I'd spent planning Kristen's downfall instead of living. Time I'd never get back. I won the war, but the cost? You'll want to hear this. Subscribe, because the ending isn't what you think.
Dr. Patel looked at me the way doctors do when they're about to ruin your life. Again. But this time, my son was holding my hand. And somehow, that made all the difference. Mr. Hayes, the error in our system was inexcusable. The scans we showed you in October, suggesting improvement, those belonged to another patient. Your actual progression has been aggressive. Stage 4, advancing rapidly. Ethan's grip on my hand tightened. I could feel him shaking. How long? I asked. Dr. Patel hesitated. Doctors hate giving timelines. Too many variables, too much hope in those numbers. With immediate aggressive treatment, maybe 12 months. Without treatment, given the current progression, 6 months, maybe less. And treatment? Quality of life? Minimal. The cancers spread to lymph nodes, part of your liver. We'd be buying time, not comfort. The room was silent, except for the hum of fluorescent lights. That sound that lives in every doctor's office. The soundtrack to bad news. Then, no treatment, I said. Dad, Ethan started. No treatment, I repeated. I want 6 good months, not 12 terrible ones. Dr. Patel nodded slowly. I'll refer you to hospice. They'll help manage pain, make you comfortable. Mr. Hayes, I'm truly sorry about the error. If there's anything, there's nothing. Thank you for being honest now. Ethan drove back to Wilmington, to my house, the one I'd lived in for 37 years, the one where Claire died, where Ethan grew up, where every room held ghosts. We didn't speak for 20 minutes, just highway noise, other people's lives rushing past at 70 miles per hour. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. You knew. On Thanksgiving, you knew you were dying, and you were going to tell me. Over pie, yeah. And I let her throw you out. I looked at him, really looked. My son, 32 years old, but in that moment he looked 12, lost, broken. Ethan, stop. You didn't know. But you did. You knew you were dying, and you still... You spent your last energy taking her down. Why? Why not just tell me? Why not just... Because she would have destroyed you. If I'd just told you about the cancer and died, she would have drained every account, taken the house, left you with debt and grief. I couldn't let that happen. But you lost time. Time we could have... We have time now. That's what matters. We sat at my kitchen table, the same one that Ethan did homework in 3rd grade, where Claire and I had coffee every morning for 23 years, where I'd eaten alone for the last 7. Teach me, Ethan said quietly. Teach you what? Everything. Mom's pie, how to fix the truck, where the important papers are, your stories, everything you would have taught me if we had more time. Teach me now. My throat tightened. That's going to take more than 6 months. Then we better get started. What happened next wasn't dramatic, wasn't cinematic. It was just life. Concentrated. Intentional. Ethan took family leave from work.
Greg Paulson granted it immediately. 6 months, paid. Take care of your father. The firm will be here when you're ready. Ethan moved back into his childhood bedroom. Boxes of his life with Kristen stayed packed in his car. He couldn't look at them yet. We fell into a rhythm. Morning, breakfast at the kitchen table. I taught him how to make Claire's famous pancakes. The secret was buttermilk and a pinch of cinnamon. Afternoon, we worked on projects, fixed the truck's transmission, repainted the garage, small things that felt enormous. Evening, stories. I told him everything. About Claire, about my time in the army, about the postal service, about what it meant to be a man, a father, a husband. The things I should have told him years ago, but never found time for. December came. Christmas without Kristen. Just us. We put up the same decorations Claire used to love, boxes labeled in her handwriting. I was weaker, needed more pain medication, but I could still sit at the table, still teach. January. Hospice nurse started visiting twice a week. Her name was Patricia. Kind eyes. She'd seen this before, knew how it ended. Ethan learned to cook my favorite meals. Pot roast, meatloaf, shepherd's pie. Claire's recipes, now his. February. I couldn't leave the house anymore. Bed most days, but Ethan would carry me to the living room couch. We'd watch old westerns, the ones I loved. John Wayne, Clint Eastwood. He never left, not once. March brought news. Kristen's trial. Tyler testified, played the recordings, showed the documents. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on 12 of 14 counts. Sentencing, 18 years federal prison, no parole for at least 12. Agent Vasquez called to tell us. I was too weak to hold the phone. Ethan put it on speaker. Mr. Hayes, I wanted you to know this. She's not getting out anytime soon. You can rest easy. Rest. Funny word choice. April came like a whisper. I couldn't get out of bed anymore. Hospice increased the morphine. Everything was soft around the edges, dreamlike. But Ethan was always there, reading to me. Books Claire used to read, poetry, Hemingway, Steinbeck. Playing music, Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, the soundtrack of my youth. Holding my hand. One night, I think it was Tuesday, I woke up and he was asleep in the chair next to my bed, his head on the mattress, still holding my hand. My boy. My son. I'd won. Not against Kristen. That was just the battle. I'd won him back. That was the war. Thursday. Dawn. Light coming through the bedroom window. Golden. Soft. Ethan was holding my hand. Hadn't let go all night. I could see Claire, standing in the corner, smiling. Young again. Beautiful. Tell your mom I'm coming home, I whispered. Ethan squeezed my hand. I will. I closed my eyes, and I was free. 1 week later. Small service. Veterans Honor Guard. 21-gun salute. Hank Morrison spoke. Greg Paulson. Patricia from hospice. Tyler Chen sat in the back row. Ethan had invited him. Forgiven him. Ethan delivered the eulogy. His voice steady. Strong. My father wasn't perfect. He was stubborn. Old-fashioned. Wore flannel shirts to fancy restaurants. Soft laughter from the small crowd. But he loved completely, fought fiercely, and he taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who fights for you even when it costs them everything. He paused, looked at the flag-draped casket. Dad spent his last 6 months saving me, not just from Kristen, from myself, from the man I was becoming. He showed me what matters. Not money, not status, not perfect holiday tables. Just love. Real, messy, complicated love. That night, Ethan alone in my house, now his house. He opened the letter.
Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And before you spiral into guilt about Thanksgiving, stop. Right now, stop. That day she threw me out, that was the best, worst thing that ever happened to us. Sounds crazy, I know, but hear me out. Before that Thanksgiving, we were sleepwalking. You visited out of obligation. I pretended everything was fine. We were losing each other, slowly, politely, the way families do. Death by 1,000 missed connections. That Thanksgiving woke us both up. You saw who she really was. I saw that I still mattered to you. Even when you failed me, you still loved me. We got 6 months most fathers and sons don't get. Concentrated, intentional, real, every single day. No fake smiles, no, we should get together more often, and then waiting another 6 months. Just us. So here's my final revenge on Kristen Holloway. She tried to make me disappear from your life. Instead, she made me the center of it. She tried to steal your inheritance. Instead, you inherited something better. Time with your old man. She tried to destroy us. She created us. That's the best revenge of all. Now listen closely, son. This is important. Forgive yourself. For Thanksgiving. For believing her. For being human. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's freedom. Live well. Find someone who loves you for real. Build a family. Make the pie on holidays. Tell stories about your mom and me. Keep us alive that way. And Tyler Chen, he's a good kid who made bad choices. Be kind to him. He gave me the tools to save you. That counts for something. The house is yours. The truck's yours. Claire's ring is in my nightstand. Give it to someone who deserves it someday. But most importantly, don't spend your life chasing revenge. I did that, and it cost me time. Time I could have spent living instead of plotting Kristen. I don't regret it. I saved you, but I want better for you. When someone wrongs you, protect yourself. Fight if you must. But don't let anger become your compass. Don't let other people's cruelty define your life. I love you, son. Make the pie on Thanksgiving. Set 3 places. Yours, someone you love, and one for me. And smile, because she lost everything, and we won everything that mattered. Dad. P.S. There's $47,000 in account 4782 at First National. I saved it for you. Use it to start the foundation, the Claire and Vincent Hayes Cancer Research Fund. Help other families get more time. That's revenge that heals. Ethan stood in my kitchen, his kitchen now, making the pecan pie, Claire's recipe card propped against the backsplash, my handwriting in the margins, extra vanilla, Claire's secret. The doorbell rang. A woman's voice. Someone new. Someone real. Her name was Sophia. Teacher. Kind eyes. Patient with his grief. He invited her in. She carried flowers. Sunflowers. Claire's favorite. 3 places set at the table. Sophia's, Ethan's, and one with a folded American flag. And a photo. Me in my army uniform. Young. Smiling. Claire's ring on a chain around Ethan's neck. The pie came out perfect. Ethan raised his coffee mug toward the empty chair. Thanks, Dad. For everything. Sophia squeezed his hand. Outside, autumn leaves fell. Life moved forward. As it should. Kristen Holloway Hayes was convicted on 12 federal charges in August 2024. She is serving 18 years without parole. Tyler Chen testified against her and received immunity. He now works in financial fraud prevention, helping elderly victims. Ethan Hayes returned to work and established the Claire and Vincent Hayes Foundation. The foundation has raised $340,000 for cancer research. Vincent Hayes passed away peacefully on April 18, 2024, surrounded by love, having won the only war that mattered. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemy. It's refusing to let them destroy you. Would you have done what Vincent did? Spent your final months fighting for justice? Or would you have chosen peace and let it go? Drop your answer below. I want to know where you stand. And if this story moved you, if it made you think about what really matters, hit that subscribe button, because there are more stories like this. Stories where the underdog doesn't just survive, they win. Where justice isn't always loud, but it's always worth fighting for. One more thing. Vincent said revenge cost him time. Time he could have spent just living with Ethan instead of plotting Kristen's downfall. Do you think he made the right choice? Or should he have just told Ethan and walked away? Comment right choice or wrong choice, because I genuinely want to know what you think. Thanks for watching, and remember, family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who fights for you when it costs them everything. See you in the next one.